So just to continue on, before I was mentioning the Democratic candidates, potential candidates, now to move on to the potential Republican candidates in 2016. This is just for fun, it's not intended as a partisan sort of thing. I am reading directly off Wikipedia, but it's the most convenient source right now. So, who is going to be a potential Republican candidate? Of course, it's been 8 years of the Democrats, although the Republicans have just secured those midterm results. So, here are some names that are possibilities. The following individuals have filed with the Federal Election Commission, and people I've noticed who file early on always tend to be very fringe candidates. Jack Filler, retired engineer from West Virginia. He was the 2012 Prohibition Party presidential nominee. Josu LaRose. He's a political organizer from Florida. I don't even see a picture of him, but I've seen the name before. He has formed over 41 political parties, at least 60 super PACs, and at least 340 state political action committees. In 2010, he unsuccessfully ran in the gubernatorial election in Florida, receiving 121 votes. 121 votes in one of America's most populous states shows this guy clearly hasn't got a chance. I'll give him credit though, he's busy. Public express interest. Michelle Bachmann, of course a well-known figure, an arch-rightist, although many people on the Republicans are these days, and neoconservative. US Representative from Minnesota since 2007. John R. Bolton, US Ambassador to the United Nations. He's denied being a neocon, but he's often been described that way. He was Under Secretary of State for Arms Control and International Security Affairs. Jeb Bush. Now, I mentioned Jeb Bush in the last video. He's a serious candidate. I think he's quite a heavyweight candidate, but the idea of having a third Bush in the White House, I think, would be off-putting to a lot of Americans, even if he is a strong candidate. Herman Cain, of course, ran in, I believe it's 2012 he ran, President of the National Restaurant Association between 1996 and 1999, Chairman and CEO of Godfather's Pizza. So he's a strong businessman. He would be the first black Republican president. Could be an interesting figure. How much of a heavyweight he is, I'm not sure, but I think the more candidates, or the more potential candidates run in an election, the more recognition they get, and then eventually they might have a serious chance of winning. So I wouldn't completely dismiss someone like Herman Cain. Ben Carson, former director of pediatric neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins Hospital, so he's not even a politician. Chris Christie, governor of New Jersey, he's one of those names that has been seen as a heavyweight contender. That scandal concerning the Turnpike Bridge in New Jersey may go against him, but scandals don't always necessarily bring down a candidate. There has been questions about his weight, which sounds quite a crude thing, but when you're running to be the most powerful man in the world, essentially, or most powerful woman in the world, every little thing matters. I think Chris Christie is possibly a strong candidate. He has shown bipartisan credentials. Ted Cruz, another leading candidate, senator from Texas since 2013, Solicitor General of Texas. He could be a strong Latino candidate. Lindsey Graham, US Senator from South Carolina since 2003. Mike Huckabee, he was a presidential candidate in 2008, a well-known figure, of course, in the media, because he has his own segment in Fox News. Bobby Jindal, governor of Louisiana, he'd be the first Asian American. He's Indian American specifically. He's governor of Louisiana, a young guy. He's possibly a candidate. George Pataki, governor of New York, 1995 to 2006. Rand Paul, US Senator from Kentucky since 2011. I think he's a stronger chance than his father. Personally, I think he's quite isolationist, although I did say I'd not make these videos about my opinions, but he's been on the cover of Time magazine twice, so he's obviously a figure that gets quite a lot of interest. I think though he'd still be a fringe figure, although he's well known, I think most Republicans would see him as a radical, and I don't know how much of a chance he would have. Mike Pence, governor of Indiana since 2013. Rick Perry, governor of Texas since 2000. Lieutenant governor of Texas between 1999 and 2000. The problem with Perry is many see him as too similar to George W. Bush, so I think that might go against him. Rob Portman, US Senator from Ohio since 2011. Although going back to Rick Perry being a governor of Texas, it's a big state. Rob Portman, US Senator from Ohio since 2011. Marco Rubio, US Senator from Florida since 2011. He's baby-faced, he's young, he's Latino, he's a rising star. Potential candidate maybe, although I think 2016 might be too early for Rubio. I mean, it seems that a lot of people who have just become senators, I mean, he's been senator since 2011, to be president 5 years later seems like a bit of a long shot. Paul Ryan, of course, was a vice presidential candidate in 2012, so that got him nationwide recognition. US representative from Wisconsin. Rick Santorum. I think Santorum's a heavyweight candidate. He was a candidate, of course, in 2012. I think if you have Santorum as the nominee, I think there could be some interesting matchups. Say, for example, Santorum-Rubio. I doubt Ryan would run again as a running mate. Santorum, Rand Paul, possibly. Santorum-Cruz, I think, could be a strong matchup. Donald Trump, business magnate and television personality. I think he's a bit of a radical figure, certainly famous, but I can't see Donald Trump being a serious president. Other potential candidates: Bob Corker, U.S. Senator from Tennessee since 2007, Mayor of Chattanooga. Mitch Daniels, President of Purdue University, Governor of Indiana, former Governor of Indiana, I should say. Bob Ehrlich, Governor of Maryland between 2003 and 2007. Carly Fiorina, former business executive and nominee for the U.S. Senate from California in 2010. John Kasich, Governor of Ohio since 2011. Sarah Palin needs no introduction. Governor of Alaska. I think she's too polarizing a figure. Although she's a big name within the Republicans, I think she'd be a very polarizing figure in America. Rick Snyder, Governor of Michigan since 2011. A lot of these people I wouldn't say are nationwide, sort of have nationwide recognition. To me, the only people that really do is Mike Huckabee, Sarah Palin, maybe Ted Cruz, Rick Santorum, Paul Ryan, and Rand Paul. I don't think the others have nationwide recognition. Scott Walker survived the gubernatorial recall. That will, of course, be cropped up if he becomes the nominee. That would be a big question mark. But the fact he survived it in itself shows political strength. Governor of Wisconsin since 2011. Allen West, U.S. Representative from Florida. The following people have been focused on as potential candidates, but since subsequently there's been no interest in them for 6 months or longer. Kelly Ayotte, U.S. Senator from New Hampshire. Jan Brewer, Governor of Arizona, former Governor of Arizona. Scott Brown, U.S. Senator from Massachusetts. Sam Brownback, Governor of Kansas. Ken Cuccinelli, Attorney General of Virginia, and Governor of Virginia, or a nominee for Governor of Virginia. Jim DeMint, U.S. Senator for South Carolina. Mary Fallin, Governor of Oklahoma. Newt Gingrich, of course he's a big name. Nikki Haley, the Governor of South Carolina, she's the youngest governor currently sitting. Gary Johnson, Governor of New Mexico. Peter T. King, U.S. Representative from New York. Steve King, U.S. Representative from Iowa. Susana Martinez, Governor of New Mexico. Bob McDonnell, Governor of Virginia. Kathy McMorris Rogers, U.S. Representative from Washington. Mike Rogers, U.S. Representative from Michigan. Brian Sandoval, Governor of Nevada. Joe Scarborough is Representative from Florida. Some individuals have declined. Marsha Blackburn is a U.S. Representative from Tennessee. John Huntsman, a former ambassador to China and a governor of Utah. Darrell Issa, representative from California. John McCain, of course, is a well-known figure. But I did say age wasn't a factor, but in all honesty, McCain would be almost 80 in 2016. Tim Pawlenty, Condoleezza Rice, Mitt Romney. Another Romney run might be interesting. It's not inconceivable. Nixon ran again and won. John Thune, U.S. Senator from South Dakota. I did see also Terry Jones, of course, a controversial pastor of the World Outreach Centre has been named as a possible nominee, but no, not a possible nominee, as potentially running, but that's obviously not a serious thing. So personally, I think of those names, the strongest candidates, this is pure speculation. I don't give much basis for this, but just my pure gut feeling is the strongest candidates would be Rick Santorum, Rand Paul. Even though Rand Paul is somewhat of a divisive figure within Republicans, I think he might have more nationwide appeal. He's certainly well known. Paul Ryan, Ted Cruz. I'd say they're possibly the strongest. Maybe Michelle Bachmann as well. Possibly Mike Huckabee. I'd say those people are the strongest candidates. Bush is a strong candidate, but simply being Bush could go against him. Let me know your thoughts. Cheers.